Hello and welcome to the Daily Accelerated Growth Call. I'm Seth David. I'll be your host for the next few minutes. And as always, let's start off with a moment of calm. I do this here for about 10 seconds. You should do it for about 10 minutes. And if you download the app, it guides you through it, makes it really easy. So you have no excuses about not doing it. 10 minutes twice a day. Do it once in the morning, once at night before you go to sleep. I can guarantee you'll see a big difference in how you react to things. That's where I've noticed the biggest difference is I'm a lot less prone to reaction and a lot more prone to taking a breath, pausing, and considering my reaction before I react. And that little moment of pause throughout the day makes a huge amount of difference. So what's going on? We just got out of Christmas and New Year's and the holidays in general. Sorry, I guess I shouldn't mention any specific holidays because people get offended if they don't get included. I'm Jewish, and I didn't even mention Hanukkah. Now I did. Anyway, I hope your holidays were absolutely fantastic. I hope you had a chance to I was going to say download. I'm too much in the computer world. I hope you got a chance to unplug. I hope you got a chance to take some downtime and really rest up and think about the goals for the year ahead that you might have, because we all do that at this time. And the truth is, we should be thinking about that every day all year long, right? What are my goals? How am I going to achieve them? How am I achieving them? Am I on track? Am I moving in the right direction? One of the things I like to do oftentimes at this time of year, especially because we tend to place such an emphasis on this at this time of year, is what you're seeing on my screen here. I created a mind map. And the reason I created the mind map was I wanted to rebrand myself a little bit with a more emphasis on my personal brand. A lot of people ask me, Seth, what is the deal with all of your stuff that you do on the web? Where can I go? Is there any one place I can go to see everything that you do? And the reality is it's all pretty much contained at nerdenterprises.com, but there's a lot there. So I decided I wanted to sort of zoom out on my sort of cyber world and break SethDavid.com out into its own website where I can lay out, pretty much exactly the answer to that question. So it's coming along. I spent a lot of time just this weekend getting it up, getting it live, getting some content in here. In fact, now I'm motivated to redesign the Nerd Enterprises site and restructure all of that. But you can already start to go here and go, for example, to the Work with Seth page or, all about Seth. And then here's the news, which is the blog. And I love these cool pop-out menus. Right now I don't have a whole lot of categories yet, but you can see them here. And then it even previews the most recent posts here that I've made. So I love my little drop down. These are called mega menus, and this is something you can do in WordPress pretty easily if you have a theme that supports it. And most themes these days, especially if you do a magazine style theme like this is, most of them support this. So new website for me to centralize my presence, and then I built the mind map in the brain, and then if you get the web version of the brain, you can easily embed that mind map into your website. And it's just fun as heck to play with. I already have some of my friends telling me that they're going to spend hours just clicking around on this thing. Because it's cool. Like, I can go here to my friends and family. And let me pick on Stacy K for a minute, because she's such a good and dear friend. Over here, I've got links out to each of her different, sort of major websites. So I can go to Kildall Services, and over here I put the hyperlink there. And you can come in here, and if I go to the equivalent one here, this is where I get to edit the brain. I can go in here, and I can type notes in this notepad, and, the next time it syncs up, those will show up down here in this sort of page section. This can be resized, right? So that you can make more room for this and less room for the notes and links and things. But it's just a lot of fun. And more importantly than just being, maybe not more importantly, maybe fun should be the most important thing. So less importantly, it's a great way for me to organize my thoughts and get an idea of what my world looks like, right? So I put myself at the center, and then what is it that I'm surrounding myself with in my life? This is what I love about using a mind map. So I can go here to business, and I can create all the things that come under the heading of what I do for business. The stuff that's directly underneath. You're creating almost like a flow chart for your brain or your life, right? And then if I go click back here, I put a tag here so that you can easily go to the sort of home thought. But I can go here. Oh, and look at this. This is cool. If I move my mouse over the little image that I've used, Let me click away for a second. There it is. It'll enlarge the image. So there's my brain. But if I go over to 6 areas of life focus, those of you who have been in some of my recent webinars have heard me talk about this. When I did the cash flow, the projections in the cloud for accountants and bookkeepers webinar recently, I talked about this because before we can start projecting the numbers for our practice, we probably need to project how we're going to spend our time. And I divided up amongst these areas. And these 6 areas come right out of a book that I've studied over the past year, even more, I think now, called The 1 Minute Millionaire, which is written to sort of teach you how millionaires think 1 minute at a time. It's not about how to make $1 million a minute. It's about how to think like millionaires do, 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time. And one of the first things the book lays out for us is that their lives are highly structured. They know pretty much exactly what they're doing from 1 minute to the next, 1 hour to the next, 1 day to the next, and so on and so forth. So you can link different things across different areas. So now if I go over to money, notice money, of course, is linked to business. And then I can get right over there to business. It's the same business that I'm getting to if I just go straight over here. So you can create those kind of logical links across different parts of your life and how they come together. Another important one, of course, and all 6 of them, of course, are important. But if I go to mind, now I get to reading and learning. And if I go here, notice it also shows up under interests, right? And then choose your weapons is the name of a topic that I've spoke on at SleaderCon. And I'm starting to build out kind of the stuff that comes underneath there. The idea of choose your weapons is that it's all about the apps that we're using and how we choose which one is the right one for the right purpose in our business. And I put my little target icon in there. And here's a blog post I linked to. I think I had to fix this link. Is it fixed yet? It is fixed. So this is a cool article that I read because Choose Your Weapons is, really from my perspective, is dedicated to the 8 or so apps that I covered when I gave the talk at Sleater, and I've written a short ebook on it, which is now available at schoolofanswers.com. But this is one of the developers that I believe does some development for Active Collab, if I'm not mistaken. I may be confusing him with someone else, but either way, Active Collab posted it on Twitter, and it's a really interesting article, even if you're not a developer, just about how this guy is making some suggestions for how developers need to think in terms of their design efforts and how they design a website and a mobile app, for that matter, to make sure that the user experience is the best it can possibly be. And as somebody who definitely has an interest in making sure that my own sites are designed accordingly, he makes a point, for example, that the new thing is these little hamburger menus. You'll see like a series of dashes where you can, on a mobile app, tap them and then it reveals the menu. And he makes the point that this makes it really easy for the developer. But in so many words, what I take away from it, he didn't say it this way, but my takeaway is that that's a lazy way for developers to lay out a menu because it gives them more real estate, but it's not the best experience for the user. And I guess he's saying that studies show that users don't report the best experience when you choose that method for navigation. So interesting stuff, and this is what I'll plan on posting here, kind of like my way of bookmarking websites, within the framework of bookmarking all of my thoughts and the things I think about. And what you'll never see here, of course, but what you should know is available to you if you choose to use an app like this, is that there are also private thoughts. So I can mark a thought private right over here so that I can, use it only for myself. So if I get into the goals area, for example, and I want to create something private that I don't want to share with the world, but I don't want to have 2 different brains, then it's really easy. If I start putting, for example, a financial plan in here, I can mark this thought private, and then it won't ever show up on the web. And I've tested, believe me, I've tested it to make sure. That, my friends, is my 2 cents, or about 10 minutes worth, on what's going on first day back into the new year. And of course, I hope you're already signed up for the webinar that I'm doing with Matt Rissell of T-Sheets, because we're going to be talking about some stuff that hopefully should help you get motivated, pumped, excited about the year ahead, the day ahead, the week ahead, setting your goals and reaching them, and what it's going to take to not lose that fervor. We all come into the year excited, pumped up, because it's normal to think about this stuff. But what happens to most of us is that fervor fades within, the first 30 days, certainly within the first 90. And then we wonder what happened to all that zeal we had for changing things and doing things differently. And the webinar that we're kicking off is one way that I'm approaching the very specific goal of making sure that we don't lose our fervor, that we have that weekly pep talk, and that's what we're calling it. We're calling it the T-Sheets Weekly Pep Talk. And I hope you join us for just 30 minutes once a week just to get pumped up about what are our goals, and we'll have that conversation. So as always, I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day. I hope your year and your day and your week are all off to an amazing start, and I look forward to seeing you on the web.